So one of the key thing organization had is like what model you are using, how good that model is in terms of aligning to my context and environment I work in. That's one important part, the selection of model. Which model I select, which doesn't create too many problems for me. Security, privacy, ethics, a lot of the societal problem for me. That's one important part.
The day quantum and AI couples together, it would be explosive. So how the speed is so massive and rapid.
When the speed is beyond your comprehension and catching up every new thing while you are doing your day-to-day work, so then which way you do this? How you get yourself updated? How you brush yourself well, right? What you're learning is your own learning.
Absolutely.
So subjective thing, right? But now translating each of that into objective processes basically.
Correct.
And we already have a lot of challenge and problem working with business. They have frustration that we are not allowing them to aggressively use the technology. So this frustration and this gap may get widened if you are not really aggressive enough to understand new tech. So that will determine the role that you play in the organization. And
very, very deep, very insightful. Sharpen the saw right now. Oil your lamps tonight. Welcome to Unscripted with Archie Jackson. Today we have a special guest. He is the CEO of Data Security Council of India. There would be a lot of interesting anecdotal conversation today and a lot of takeaways. We'll be talking about data security, data privacy, OT, supply chain, cybersecurity landscape, lot of interesting aspects around cybersecurity today. So let's not wait and just get into the conversation. Let me just welcome Vinayak Godse. Welcome, Vinayak. Thanks for taking time out. Really appreciate. I understand you have a very hectic, exhaustive schedule, but still you took out time for this Unscripted with Archie Jackson conversation. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here, Archie.
I'll quickly start off with my primary question. So we are all aware of DSCI, but our viewers would be interested to understand what DSCI does, Data Security Council of India, and what's the important role that it plays in the Indian evolution of cybersecurity.
Yeah, so this Data Security Council of India actually set up as a kind of a think tank and industry body, and we evolve a lot. Like definitely cybersecurity, privacy is our core areas of work since 2008. But now data become very important part on top of the cybersecurity, privacy. So data governance, overall digital economy is what this entire digital public infrastructure that we talk about. So we dwell ourselves to understand this more deeper and at a level that digitization happening, and this digitization story of India is very aggregate level intervention the government is doing through some architectural arrangement like a UPI, Aadhaar, and also the policy ecosystem that we have been creating around it. So data is third key thing that we do. Another important thing, because we work with national security to defense ecosystem and some of the critical sector organizations. So we have been seeing the critical technology, the technology which shapes some of those kind of sectors, right? So that is also becoming very important area for DSCI to work. And now artificial intelligence is another important area that we look at. So security, privacy, data, critical tech, and artificial intelligence. So these are primary 4-5 areas of DSCI's work, but it was set up as a not-for-profit company. So one hand we engage with government on various policy, national security matters, and other hand we engage with industry. So most of the machinery of this country, cybersecurity, national cybersecurity machinery for that matter, right? So which puts a policy, puts this structure for national cybersecurity, and also contribute to really improving India's cybersecurity posture and health of our cyberspace. So we engage with them closely, including the line ministries as well. And other hand, we also work with the sectors, industry sectors. So DSCI is this membership base, right? So most of the India's leading organization, user industry plus tech industries are DSCI's member across the sector, basically critical sector, banking, financial sector, capital sector for that matter, insurance sector for that matter, energy, power, health sector, right? So that really helps us to understand how the security, privacy, data is at play in different industry sectors, basically, right? Helps us to understand the policy positions based on this learning that we have working with sector. But we also look at one of the key thing which is not very much known, but we also have a center in Bangalore to train police officers and judiciary on forensic investigation capabilities. And this is also a center which does a lot of intense research in digital crime and digital forensic area. And then this is also kind of effort that we put together in the country in to make sure that we address this digital crime, cyber crime at a national level, right? So that's a effort that we put together. But we also believe one strongly that cybersecurity is definitely things to be taken care of, things to be responded better, things to be defended better. But we also believe that while we have to take care of all of these things, the security also throws a lot of possibilities, right? Correct. So cybersecurity industry building ecosystem that we have been instrumental creating in last 10 years of time, and we believe the subject of cybersecurity has come to that inflection point, and our industry is very strong now, almost $20 billion plus industry. And in that, we also focused our attention to the research and technology product ecosystem, right? And 10 years had been quite an interesting journey for us to see how that ecosystem has come to critical mass level. While we do that, we also engage with the global ecosystem, a lot of government engagement, plus our own ecosystem that we have been trying to engage globally. All the diaspora in cybersecurity space, plus global geographies, global markets. So that kind of work is expanding quite intensely. And we also do a lot of, in the recent past, we started doing that. We started understanding tech better, current plus next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So we have this specific focus on frontier tech initiative. And we try to understand how the technology will be shaping in next 3, 5, 10, 15 years of time, and what that means to security and national security, basically. So these are areas that DSCI has been working.
Interesting, very interesting. So throughout, and you've been here for many years now, and how has that journey shaped up?
Yeah, so today only I completed 17 years in DSCI.
Congratulations.
So when we started, initially we were struggling this is a aggregate level institution, right? So having come from a commercial ecosystem, right, you struggle to understand what this means for you, right? So what is the space for you, right? You can't behave like an individual company, which is a commercial company, and you can't also behave like a government. So there's a space that we were struggling to understand first 1 or 2 years of time. But then eventually we started making those inroads. We started understanding this space better. So initially we put together a kind of DSCI security and privacy framework, which probably most of the industry sectors started seeing that we are producing something of their interest and something of their use, basically, right? So eventually then we started engaging, so our membership ecosystem started growing fast. Those are the days where security was a kind of a greenfield subject, right? Still, right? Although it became brownfield because a lot of things of security got settled, a lot of technology came in, a lot of practices evolved, a lot of standards came into picture. Those time we talked about 30,000-40,000 people in India working in cybersecurity, but there are almost 650,000 working in cybersecurity now, right? So the subject on disciplines of security has progressed a lot. In fact, now we see a people where if you are an expert in application security, you may not be doing in network security. So there is a specialization in every discipline which we are saying, right? Every discipline has practices. Every discipline has their own technologies, basically. Every discipline of security also has their own strategy, tactical, operational thinking, right? Exactly. And on top of that, and there's enterprise security ecosystem that you create, right? By setting up those operation centers and all these things. So the entire evolution that we have seen in last 17, 18 years of time, basically. And that is why a very interesting part of subject of security, right? It's such a dynamic, changing every day. So we say this is like every day we need to iterate our thinking about security, because something we believe that we are comfortable with managing this problem this way. Suddenly something happens tomorrow, right? Absolutely. Then you have to reiterate that thinking, basically, right? And that's what security makes it a kind of exciting subject. And now privacy provides another important, interesting dimensions to the work that we do.
Right. So where do you see security and privacy interlock? So we have security has been there. They have been focus on to, and in fact priority onto security.
Yeah.
And very recently, over the past few years, we see evolution of focus and seriousness towards privacy as well.
Yeah.
So what's that interlock?
So the digitization, right, and especially the digitization of the transactions that individuals are doing, be it a personal, social, financial, economic transactions they do, right. So digital means had been seen as a very important mean for various different things. So if you talk about digital economy, while all of our experience working with systems is very important, and there is a lot of effort being put together to improve the end citizens, consumers experience, right. But there is also inclusion, right. India's digitization story is taking those digital means and making it sure that somebody which is selling nariyal on the platform or road,
Right.
it can also transact digitally, basically, right. So we're trying to make him economically a kind of a active agent, part of the formal economy ecosystem. Basically, we are also trying to make sure that things are improving. The overall economy's productivity is increasing. We are, whatever economic asset we are creating, we are looking at improving the utilization of that and enhancing entire India's productivity. Not only India's global productivity is also critically depend on subject of digitization, basically, right. So when these are all happening, we believe we are increasingly engaging with the end consumer. So their data, their lot of informations are now digitally getting collected, recorded, processed, shared as well, right? And then there is a concept of privacy, and till some years back, it was more physical privacy, right? You are not breaching my physical privacy, but your data is going away from you, and somebody at a distance can see your data, can make a sense of your data, process it for something which is not being discussed with you, or decided with you, or consented with you, basically, right? Then those are concerns of privacy in digital space has evolved, right? And large part of these privacy discussions are to do with the citizen or consumer which is outside of your organization, basically.
Exactly.
Which is not your, until now in security you have been doing it for yourself.
Right.
You are protecting your own asset, protecting your data, trying to make sure the organizations or interests are protected. But here a little bit different equation, right? Where you are protecting the rights of the citizen or customer, which is not part of your organization, basically. And most of the laws are written to protect his interest, protect his right, because privacy, as we also underline as a part of our this justice, Supreme Court justice came in 2007. We start about all of us enjoy, a resident of India enjoys the privacy as a right, fundamental right. So then it's so little bit different equation where security you are defending against an attacker and defending your interest. Here you have to be more responsible, accountable, right? Here you are creating impact by collecting and processing information of a end citizen or customer. You are impacting his personal life, basically, right? So it's here you have to take a responsibility. You have to make sure that the rights are protected, basically. So this equationally, this is different. So privacy is more organizational responsibility, to not to let go things out of hand, not let the processing the way it is being done in organization compromise the rights of the individual, right? So this is a very foundational difference between security and privacy. That's why when we talk about security, we always talk about risk assessment. But here we are talking about impact assessment. Where you are impacting the rights of the individual, and that's why you need to do privacy impact assessment that you talk about, right? But to protect that, some questioning, some inquiries goes beyond the way, because security until now we have been talking about need to know basis access, right? So we always say you will get access to the information only if you require to be, right? But security goes one or two step ahead of it. It says why you need. So it says what purpose.
Correct.
So that's why the content of the privacy has evolved in that way. You need to define the purpose better, and you need to take a consent, and you need to make sure that you are processing information only for the purposes that somebody has consented to you.
Right.
So these inquiries are different than security, right? So this is a foundational under river. So content principles of privacy is very different than what we see in security space, basically. Yes, some part of the privacy can be delivered by security. If you protect your information better, if you take care of that information better, then you in a way deliver to the purpose of privacy. So security may deliver to the privacy. So that those are some of the kind of distinction between and the relation between the security and privacy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vinayak. In fact, you deal with so many sectors, different sectors from manufacturing, finance, healthcare, and all. And over the years, you spent 17 years. That's a remarkable time frame. From here, I mean, from past 17 years to now, what's the cybersecurity landscape that you have observed? How is it? Is it exponentially evolving, rapidly changing? What transformations have been?
Yeah,
happening?
so it did, right. So when I talked about this year of 7-8 digitization at very early stage, every digitization is a lot of siloed digitization, not very much integrated interface. But now these silos are broken by a lot of those interconnectivity interfaces. The volume and velocity at which we have been developing applications and deploying it also rising quite intensely. The digital footprint of the organizations as well as the individuals are now expanding day by day, and then that adds to a situation where it is easy to get hold of your footprint, and once you are able to see your footprint, it's easy to know which way I can probably get into, right? So creating that modus operandi is easy, right? And as you have been doing so many different things, we used to do transaction, right? We used to transfer money once in a week for that matter. But every day we are doing so many transactions, right? So the volume and speed at which things are happening and the traffic, the way it is growing, right? And the footprint is now also so interdependent to each other. Data moves from one environment to other environment, one organization to other organization, one border to one country to other country, basically. Right?
Correct.
So you find a lot of those possible ways to get into. And underlying infrastructure is also getting too complex, too many applications, too many infrastructure components. And every application is changing every day, basically. Right? So getting hold of that weakness and vulnerability is easy if it is exposed, right? So we have got into a situation now is this asymmetry between the attacker and defender. So we had been dealing with this asymmetry, right? Means where attacker has to successful once in a thousands of time, where defender has to successful 1,000 out of 1,000 times.
Right.
So this equation changed to million out of million time, and attacker has to. It's very easy for attacker to find million possibility and find that one which will create problem. So now we are talking about even billion out of billion, trillion out of trillion, basically, right? So this asymmetry is a big problem in cybersecurity. Means out there, a lot of things happening in your organization. Something or other will be a weakness, and if that get exposed for a moment, it's likely to get exploited, right? So that's where the security landscape has come, and that's why we started seeing a lot of effort being put together to manage security in more real-time basis. We build a lot of those technology solutions, and that's why security has seen thousands of new technology types coming in.
Exactly.
A lot of unicorns are coming in cybersecurity. Some companies have become $100 billion plus companies in cybersecurity space because everybody want to address that problem on real-time basis.
Correct.
There were days where we'll be doing only once in a year vulnerability assessment, validation testing. So that's not something tenable in the current age, basically, right? So one part is the trying to find that one thing which will create a problem for you. Another part is then there is this complexity of interdependency, this kind of value and velocity things the happen in organization. Then getting all of them together to take care of that one issue is also not easy, right? It's also a big orchestration that you need to lay down the plan and make sure that operationally all of those pieces move together to take care of that problem, basically, right?
Absolutely.
So this game is becoming increasingly difficult. and also sometimes beyond comprehension of those people working to
Correct.
solve the problem actually.
Correct. We are currently in a mesh architecture, and
Yeah.
scope for silos operations. That's
Yeah.
not at all possible. What are the top 3 areas for any organization that you would suggest to focus on, looking at the current landscape evolution, and the fundamental top 3 areas that the organization should focus on to be secure, both from security aspects as well as controlling the privacy for the organization?
Yeah, I mean, see, one of the important thing which we are observing, and especially you look at the high impact. So this last quarter has been a quarter of high impact attacks, right? So
Right.
factories had been shut down for 3-4 weeks time, right? So one beer factory in Japan got big retail companies got big attacks basically, right?
Correct.
And the disruptions to this scale, where millions and billions of dollar entire supply chain got disrupted. So if you look at this kind of attacks and the kind of operational choreography that we have been seeing in terms of crafting this attack over the period of 4 years, right? So this particular attack I'm talking about started somewhere in 2021, and the supply chain, some compromise in one of their supplier has led to a factory got completely disrupted for so many weeks basically, right? So that kind of a patience and that kind of operational choreography we are seeing in LATAM landscape basically. So we are now increasingly seeing artificial intelligence is now helping them to understand you better and even model your business much better. And they know how your business function, what kind of capabilities you use, what
Right.
kind of supply chain ecosystem that you deal with, what is your business ecosystem, what is your business cycle as well. So this particular attack I was talking about was even launched as a way where the people in that geography buys luxury good, right? So such kind of a thinking is going to craft the attack. So some years back we used to talk about 0 day because
Right.
we were able to close all of those kind of gaps, and that's why they started seeing the 0 days. But nowadays it is more like a normal threat vectors, but they are trying to improve the efficiency of the operations. So they are trying to find that one weakness that will create a problem, right?
Correct.
And this level of advancement, and coordination between different actors are coming together. And if you have to really deal with this basically, right? So your typical way of managing risk, I know standard had helped us, but standards also takes time to evolve. Like,
Very true.
sometimes they make security very stationary, and sometimes if you are certified, then you buy that comfort coming out of standards basically, right? So we usually advise use standards as a baseline, but don't really put all your eggs in that one bucket that you
Right.
certified and comply with that standard basically. Second important part is find a ways to solve the problem more real time basis, right? Audit assessment has its own role, but you need to have those technical capability. You need to augment day by day basically, right? And you need to set up a good operational excellence to make sure that daily the problems are being identified and managed well basically, right? So that's the third thing. And the one which I'm now touting a lot is and we are developing some methods for that as well. So this complexity, this interdependency, this kind of advancement that we see in attack landscape, so you need to handle that more systematically. So systems thinking approach for cybersecurity is something we talk about. We have training program, lot of material we are creating out of it basically. So these are 3-4 things which I believe would become very critical in coming future.
Indeed. And what I see from the industry segment perspective, the manufacturing, the OT space,
Yeah.
it has actually been left behind in the race of security. I mean, the SCADA devices and also, and the impact is not only data. The impact is human as well. It can even compromise lives as well. So, what are your thoughts in the focus and evolution of the OT security space?
Yeah, so we say this. If you really look at in the the enterprise ecosystems in India, right? So there are largely 2 or 3 categories of companies, right? So one is the transaction processing industry. So usually they are adapter technology, they are regulators, most of them are regulators basically. So and then most of the systems are IT systems, right? So the maturity of security discussions are quite evolved in those sectors, right? Second is the tech sector, which is supporting those sectors plus many other sectors as well. But third, which is key, which is these are many sectors together. We say this is economic value creating industry or enterprises basically. So they're not necessarily process transaction, but energy company, power sector, manufacturing company, chemical companies, right? So these are largely the industrial sector which is creating those economic value. And they also realize that digital is a way for them to improve their, one of the key thing in the manufacturing sector is to improve the utilization, improve the operational efficiency,
Right.
improve the productivity, create new possibilities for them basically, right? So if they are digitizing, they are also exposing. But this exposure and this footprint, as you rightly said, is not only the typical IT systems going down or data getting lost. So this also disrupt operations, right? This also probably creates a lot of those, I'm not saying kinetic, but near to kinetic impact, right?
Right.
And sometimes those disruptions is not limited to that one company, right? It disrupt the entire economic sector, disrupt sometimes economic security of the country as well, right? So is the challenge in this sector is it's only play of 2 players here, right? So one is the OEMs of this kind of capability providers,
Right.
and there are user industry, which is UD, these in the sector of user of those technologies. So there's technology which provides this kind of OEMs, and usually these systems are devised for long duration of time.
Correct.
So there are refresh cycle is more than 10 years,
Right.
sometimes
Right.
20 years as well, right? So then you can't factor all of those things which will go wrong with your things that you design basically, right? And that is challenging because, and then replacing them to the modern thing is too much of a cost.
Absolutely.
And this economic value creating ecosystem, the capital investment is big for
Massive.
them, right?
Yes.
So economical is not tenable, right? So how do you solve that problem, right? So DSCI, we put a lot of effort in this area. We created a very specific function in DSCI and OT, SCADA OT security, putting a lot of attention in this. We had been, we mobilized a lot of, our membership base is expanding in this area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have specific people now in DSCI to take care of these challenges and work with industry to evolve a kind of effort in this area. And then when we do all this, we realize one thing, this sector has a problem, and this segment has a problem. The key problem here is there is only this relation between OEM and user. And cybersecurity in IT ecosystem, we know there is a third party security professional ecosystem, right? I mean, there's OEM for technology and there's user, but there is also cybersecurity technologies there basically, right? So you need to create those. One is you definitely need to work with both OEMs and user, but you need to create this entire ecosystem of people who understand OT security much better, SCADA security much better. You need to have technologies for that. You need to have services for that basically. So that's the area that we focused a lot, right? And which involves how we engaging with OEM ecosystem, involves user ecosystem, and more importantly involves the researcher, startups, global companies to see how can we create that, right? So that is an effort that we have been putting together, and we had been doing this OT security sub summit every year in our annual security summit that we do in month of December in Delhi. But apart from that, we recently set up a kind of a entire OT environment in DSCI. Because the problem with this user industry of this segment or this sector is also they can't do POC. It's very easy for doing
Exactly.
IT the POC, right?
Yeah.
For them, they can't do POC in the environment. So this infrastructure, we entire set up this entire, there is a Purdue University model in OT ecosystem. So we set up that model where they can do POC. And even if there is startups comes in this space, so startup also struggle to get access to the systems in user industry because it's very sensitive. So this kind of environment is also helping would help the startups to do this testing and evaluation for their product and ideas, basically, right? And on top of that, we are also doing kind of a training in this area, starting something specifically from the DSCI. So this is how we are trying to address the problem of OT. And we also engage with government ecosystem from the regulation and policy matters as well.
Wonderful initiatives, Vinayak. In fact, switching gears into the most trending topic, which is AI, from security and privacy perspective, I mean, it plays both the positive as well as the negative. What's your view around how this should be handled? The AI, the evolution, the integration across technologies, and what precautions we should play.
Yeah. So one thing which is with AI is I talked about security become more like a brown pill, but AI again makes it as a green pill subject. Why? So because so we know, so most of the organization tried to do their AI, right? But for that, now some people call that as the black box AI. You have your own data, your team, your own algorithm you build, and you deploy those systems basically. But then now this global wisdom which is available through planetary level data that they have been training with, and that wisdom is available to you, and it's like a democratization of some Brahmagyan that is happening, right? And each of us can gain out of it, right? And enterprises especially can then switch over to this intelligence, because this is a much better compared to what we have been building internally. Internally, definitely it has own its merit, but such kind of global, so every decision you take, right, in business and in your personal life, right, has two things, right? One is the downstream. Right. Downstream is mostly you and your organization, what you experience, what you know, data you have, how you do it all, right? So one is, sometimes you also struggle with that. Your existing AI systems may not even help you to understand yourself better, right?
Correct.
So that's one important part of AI. But there is also larger, bigger upstream as well, right? Big picture as well, right? So you need to also factor that any decision you're taking. So it has to be based on understanding you and yourself better, and also take care of the overall thinking available globally, and the AI is providing that, and factor that so that your decision, your work, your proposition becomes more effective, right? And that's why everybody is trying to work with this AI of the current day.
Right.
But the AI works as a, at least current models works on attention mechanism. And attention is that trillion swap parameter. And when we are putting some prompt or any use case there, basically, so it tries to fire those attentions.
Correct.
Tries to bring something out of those trillions of parameters to the context that you are asked in your prompt, basically, right? So when it does that, that means it sees you and your data, or your probably, I'm saying sees, not consume. It doesn't need to consume, basically. And they also say token width is 256. Now they have to 2 million. Someday will go 2 million times as well, right? So that means they are able to see your data in million different way. And that is what our big struggle was, right? When we used to use our IT system, if you build a lot of big data system and this keyword search that we actually use until now, so keyword search is a lot of limitation. And then keyword search, only you who has built system would know what keywords has gone into data, right? But when you bring this global intelligence there, then whatever your data, whatever question, whatever way you have been asking, that's why we talk semantic reasoning, basically, right? Even if you write it in English, and that's what we are saying, then you can ask question in Marathi, ask question in Japan, and it still answers that question, basically.
Absolutely.
So this is what AI native ecosystem is coming, right? So that means your data can be seen in multiple ways. So then, and can be answered multiple ways, basically, right? So one of the key thing organization had is like what model you are using, how good that model is in terms of aligning to my context and environment I work in.
Right.
That's the one important part, the selection of model. Which model I select, which doesn't create too many problems for me. Security, privacy, ethics, a lot of the societal problem for me. That's one important part. Second part is how you deploy it more securely.
Right.
So if you secure this much better, then probably you take care of a lot of issues there, right? Third part is if you're putting or exposing our data to AI systems, what kind of input control that I can put together? But AI generating something out of it, sometimes it could land into difficult problem. So then there is another important thing is what kind of output control that you are using. How can you check the entire security of the AI system, right? How can you protect privacy for that matter, right? How can you make sure that this doesn't really lead to intended and unintended disclosure of the information?
Correct.
And so all we have been trying to grapple with right now in security and AI, but now agentic AI throws next challenge, right?
Right.
So this pace at which the AI is progressing, it's very difficult to move from one paradigm to other paradigm,
Absolutely.
right? So you have to be very agile and dynamic in terms of understanding how things is going, and that's why we appeal CISOs communities that you need to be front runner in terms of understanding new tech coming to you.
Absolutely. Very true. Very true. And with the CIOs and CISOs I interact with, and within my peer fellow CIOs and CISOs, the commonest challenge that I see is their depth in the current transformation that is happening and how the interlock happens between multiple technologies. I see multiple data centers. I mean, India is focusing on multiple number of data center, increasing data centers to cater the AI needs. And with the technologies, there are parallel silos, although these are silos which are operating. Let's say we have quantum as one of the silo, we have 5G as another silo, we have AI as another silo, all interlock together. The day quantum and AI couples together, it would be explosive. So how should I mean, the speed is so massive and rapid.
When the speed is beyond your comprehension and catching up every new thing while you are doing your day-to-day work, and day-to-day work is also intense for all of us, right? So then which way you do this, how you get yourself updated, how you brush yourself well, right? So we believe if that is a problem, then you need to be going to the core.
Correct.
You have to understand this at a very core foundational level, sometimes philosophical level as well. Then if you really focus on understanding at a core and foundational and philosophical level, then you know how it had evolved and you know where it will go from now. But there is what they say, right? So this exploration, sometimes we do it for a professional work, today's work basically.
Right.
But we don't reflect on what exactly goes into this, right? Spending some time, and that's why we build this DSCI training program called DSCI GP, right? DSCI Certified AI Governance Professional, right? Where large part of time is spent to understand at a core level, understand a foundational, fundamental. In fact, we have one session there, philosophize AI, understand AI philosophically. Then you'll know how it is moving. Then you are creating metacognition capability. So you need to create metacognition. So if you get into that and if you see we are just trying to understand this, then suddenly things are going next level, right? So you need to a little bit, you know, deeper as well, but deeper it helps a lot. But then you need to look how all of these pieces are moving together basically.
Absolutely.
So we are doing that in AI, we are doing in quantum. Every week we revisit our understanding of quantum. Okay, this entire utility grade quantum company we are talking about. So a lot of pieces are moving together to achieve that. So if you don't have attention to those pieces moving, then you'll miss on.
Right.
So how you don't miss out on all of this thing. And I believe security professions of the coming future, and for that matter IT plus CDO or many such kind of CXO, they have to build this kind of a capability to develop that metacognition capability basically.
Very true. Very true. And I see that as a challenge as well as an opportunity both, because for those who fail to integrate these different technologies and expand their paradigm into it, versus those who actually get into that philosophical level of understanding, you rightly said. So, I was just thinking one fine day when Microsoft partnered with this SpaceX, and there are so many other coming up with technology which is over the low orbit satellites,
Yeah.
which will enable internet across the highest peaks of the mountains
Yeah.
and the deepest of the seas,
Yeah.
which also creates a lot of opportunities for, let's say, places for agriculture where
Yeah.
internet hasn't
Yeah.
gone, but also create a lot of challenges from
Yeah.
security aspects per se.
So we talk this as a edge of current paradigm, right? What that means is edge of, for example, I know what was AI 3 months back and what is AI right now, right? And if you don't use what are those capability today available and right now,
Right.
and you don't use those capability which is edge of current thing, right? Then you miss on what is coming next.
Very true.
So this is a framework of understanding we develop as a DSCI, edge of current paradigm, basically, right? So finding a ways for you to know what is happening today, and which way you can adapt and use it, basically, right? Then only you will understand where it is going from now, right? And there are a lot of interesting ways that we have been exploring and this all, and that is what, as a DSCI, we set up this entire team of DSCI who does research on what is going to happen next 3 years, next 1 year, next 5 years, next 10 years. Fortunate enough to work with government on some of these initiatives, which created this competence and capability in DSCI. And then we are now using that to see what it means for security, national security, and overall ecosystem that we are in.
Correct. And even from global perspective as well, irrespective of the businesses and all, I see from let's say the currency perspective, the central bank coming into place, the digitization of currency coming into place, UPI, DPI, all evolving. Now, with that, again, I've already seen massive shift in the financial sector, which has rapidly going ahead. And I see Middle East, actually being the pioneer in this, and a lot of catching up needs to happen around that area.
So we do try to spend time in terms of understanding how, because that's what DSCI's work is, aggregate level, how things are moving, and look at those pieces. And one of the important area is also tracking the geopolitics better, right? And large part of current day geopolitics is technology, right?
Right.
We are fortunate enough that we have a lot of levers in this area. For example, in digitization space, apart from this 2-3 generation of capitalistic centric digitization based on the big capital and capital to the extent now you must have seen that they're talking about $3 trillion investment that will go in AI, right? Then other side we have our neighbor which had been investing a lot and creating a lot of those models at a different scale and capabilities, right? And a lot of state governments investment goes into that. And then we have Europe, which is focusing largely on a rights of individual, right? But India with this DPI, this aggregate level interfaces and infrastructure that we have created, right, has shown the work you can really scale up the digitization of economy with such kind of a DPI initiatives like a DigiYatra, UPI, Aadhaar, and so many of them, DigiLocker, right? DigiLocker, so many of those kind of things which come in, right? So this is our play, and because of this play, we are much better at payment transaction ecosystem, right? We are much better at a lot of technology areas like a space, like a drone, and many of those areas basically, right? So, and then we have great talent, although most of that talent is being consumed by services economy, but increasingly we are seeing people are moving from services to product. A lot of product ecosystem is coming in India, right? And while we do that, but every country is doing it. And Middle East with kind of resource support that they have and kind of per capita level they have. So they have bigger resources, better resources, and that's why they're investing heavily. So everybody is now realizing that tech is the central to the next ecosystem evolution happening all across globe, basically. So tech will be central to the next world that we'll see from now, actually.
Indeed.
And that's every country is realizing that.
Indeed. And from your vision perspective and your research, how does 2032 or 2032 looks like?
Yeah, so some of these things we do as our effort for understanding national security implication of that. So one is AI, right? Because this kind of investment happening, these kind of breakthroughs are coming in compute. This kind of data ecosystem is coming now. This week only we had looked at self-improving AI, which is now becoming more reality. So all that would contribute a lot to the accelerating development of AGI, right? And I'm not saying it will happen next year, but there is definitely propensity of AGI happening in coming 2 years of time, right? So we are still grappling with AI, but what will AGI brings, we need to really think about it,
Right.
and we have been investing a lot of our time to understand that. That's one part of story, right? Second part of story is a compute. Definitely the GPUs and semiconductor compute is one important part, but there are a lot of experimentation happening.
Right.
This entire 9K TPU that chips that Google could integrate in one
Correct.
system was a big news this week, right?
Yes.
And now they are already equipped to cater $10 trillion model, but they are increasingly getting equipped to 100 trillion model in some time, basically.
Absolutely.
So you can imagine kind of a strain that they're bringing to the table, right?
Yeah.
But then that's a compute innovation and inventions which is happening, right? But we also see that the compute will be a very hybrid in nature. Means there is a bit compute with semiconductor, but there's a qubit which because of quantum. Then there's neuromorphic compute coming. Then there's a photonic compute coming. So suddenly we'll have 6-7 different type of compute, including DNA compute, at least 4 or 5 dominant compute basically, right? And we will now look at what is the workload and which one will be done by what. So people may build a data center to cater this hybrid compute capability delivery and cater those workloads coming from different kind of things. So this is very interesting from the compute side as well, right? Then we'll also see in networking side, the networks will definitely go for 1.6 to 2, eventually 4 terabytes per second, right? So big. So if everything is getting digitized, right, then you need to pass data at a speed, right? So we'll see a lot of innovation happening and moving data from one place to other place, right? Most of our mobile phone would have 600 MB, 500 MB cameras in some time. Most of our mobile phone will also have 1.4 nanometer chip as well, right? So every first will be creating 2 months of data. Now 6G coming in. 6G is largely sensor ecosystem. So you can deploy millions of sensors and 6G could help you integrate with that basically, right? So you can just imagine kind of digitization that we'll see from now, right? And then we are also seeing, this is interestingly, that AI is becoming more physical in nature. So they are putting AI in car, in robotics, so many of the physical assets basically, right? So AI in physical, now we are just trying to understand that. We recently published a report on AI in physical world. We also published a report on AI in the next in EV, right? We also published a report, almost a compendium of hybrid compute report. One is on neuromorphic and photonic and quantum, right? We are also investing on understanding AI much better. And then now we have been trying to get, but then we are now realizing AI is going to biological world as well.
Right.
So a lot of our biological parameters would also get digitized shortly to large extent, right? So suddenly this is the world that we see, right? And then drone coming in, a lot of this sensor ecosystem enabled by quantum coming in, and quantum, the way the compute, if it is UGQC literally happen by 2030 for that matter, right? Then you'll even fail to know what can you do with it.
Absolutely.
Because currently we're just saying how can we take our current workload to quantum, but you'll not even understand that this quantum has these characters and how can you use it for solving some of the problems.
Exactly.
Basically. So you can just imagine this kind of a world in next 5-6 years of time, and then finding what could go wrong with it.
Absolutely.
It's not easy, right? What will go wrong from cybersecurity, from national security, physical security, biological security? It's not easy.
It's scary. It's scary. I mean, I was just trying to put some dots here and there in a creative manner. San Francisco, I saw those driverless cars being tested at a point in time.
If you take any test drive? Taken.
Yeah, I did,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And they had all those data collection activities. 24 hours, those cars were just running on streets. Now we have those autonomous cars. Now we have that Neuralink.
Yeah. That's the biology. AI is doing more
Yeah,
biological.
and just imagining that Neuralink is currently helping out the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
The other side of it could be I can be a superhuman if my Neuralink is connected to an LLM engine. I don't need to learn, recite, or anything. I mean, it's direct feed.
Yeah. Another interesting and also dangerous thing is this explosion of intelligence. They say, right? AI is helping you to discover a lot of things that you would struggle to. You would have taken years to find that thing, right?
Right.
So scientific research, acceleration. So there is a intelligent explosion. They say, but things may come to the level where every minute, every hour, something is getting discovered, which will qualify for the Nobel Prize. Basically.
Exactly.
And suddenly, then you, as a humanity, will probably struggle to grapple with that, basically, right? So, how do you see these coming, and what will be the meaning for security, privacy, governance?
Very true.
It remains to be seen.
Absolutely. And even the gone are the days. I mean, we are now in the nuclear family, but the heritage, the ancestral knowledge that has been, the sound waves and all, lot of technology, Tesla's research and all. So integrating that, I mean, those are also evolving and coming back.
Yeah, so we say in DSCI, right? So each of you is captured, and a lot of data that you enter, a lot of your reactions can be entered. Now, entire this multimodal AI, so every of what you say can be captured. And even while until now we have been talking about data in sense of digital, in sense of the likes and all this thing, but there is a lot of emotional data also getting captured.
Correct.
So if you look at some of those experiments which is happening, so while interacting with you, you will know which degree this person is happy or sad, right?
Correct.
Because I had recently come across one research where they are trying to understand laughs, different laughs. And they realized that there are almost 800-900 different type we laugh.
Wow.
So then AI will be knowing this person is laughing, this means this is this, right? So a lot of this subjective. So we all are subjective people, right? So what I'm saying, what you're saying. So what I'm learning out of this conversation is my own learning. What you're learning is your own learning.
Absolutely.
So subjective thing, right? But now translating each of that into objective processes, basically, right? So how much of that, and each of us, and each of our data, what I like, what I feel, what I do, how I move, is getting captured. Then you can. That's the next level of privacy that I'm talking about.
Very
right?
true.
After you also, data can be seen, right?
Absolutely.
You will remain after you with your data.
Absolutely. I mean, everything is there. I mean, virtually, I mean, it could be a different dimension, bringing those dimensions in reality altogether. Yeah. How does supply chain, I mean, look like in future? Because at this point in time, the attack vectors have been purely focusing on to supply chain attacks. Now, with the future, there are so many supply chain. I mean, every industry, every technology is integrated with supply chain.
Yeah.
Now, that is
so
a massive
large
challenge.
part of digitization is your ability to make use of the capability, no matter where it is developed, right? If it is useful for you, you need to, and cloud, a lot of architecture framework had brought or bringing those capability to you, right? If you're not using it, you are losing it, actually, right? So that has led to this situation now, right? Where we are gone to the level where everything can be outsourced and you just take care of the value in that supply chain that you are, right? So this has definitely created now challenge. One of the key challenge of this year and next 5 years will be supply chain security, right? And there are various different ways, right? So people are putting methods for this, like you have better visibility of supply chain, you do this S-bomb, C-bomb, and so much type of the bombs, bill of material that you can take about. That's the one way. You try to understand the security preparedness of your suppliers by some technical capability. Day to day, they tell you what is this scoring rate of them every day. You try to do assessment of them. You try to set a protocol for them to engage and interface with you. You also try to set up this aggregate level threat hunting that you don't do it for you, but you do it for your suppliers.
Correct.
You incentivize them to invest in security. So a lot of these ideas are coming in, right? So, but still this area needs a lot of experimentation, a lot of effort. And this is a problem that we want to really solve. Like, one organization doing will not solve it.
Right.
Everybody has to do everywhere. So most of the supply chain would be common between you and your competitor or your peers, basically, right? So how it collectively work together to improve the security of supply chain is very important. And in that case, how do you solve problem of this cross-border
Very true.
movement of the components and data?
Right.
It's not easy, but at the same time, as we are attending or putting our attention to this problem, a lot of ideas are coming in this area.
True. Really insightful, interesting conversation, Vinayak. In fact, I can go on for a few more hours. One final, as we close, one final message or guidance to the fellow CIOs, CISOs, as well as those who are towards the journey of cybersecurity, those who want to pursue cybersecurity.
Yeah, so only one message I have when I wrote an article, some people will get to see that article coming in paper, right? So I'm talking about this thing is like, as between two technology paradigm, we used to get time to be comfortable, learn it, skill ourselves, then put in the organization, then create a governance and security layer on top of it, basically. But now that window is shrinking a lot.
Correct.
And we already have a lot of challenge and problem working with business. They have frustration that we are not allowing them to aggressively use the technology. So this frustration and this gap may get widened if you are not really aggressive enough to understand new tech. Right? So how you become more futuristic in terms of your understanding to tech, so that you prepare it better early and you become a key enabler of business in terms of adopting new technology, right? So that will determine the role that you play in the organization, and either you are inhibitor or enabler. So that will distinguish between that enabling and inhibiting.
Very, very deep, very insightful. Sharpen the saw right now. Oil your lamps tonight.
Yeah. And let's say AI come in 2022, and now you are trying to say AI security mein kya karna chahiye.
Correct.
So that we need to avoid for the next thing.
Right. Really, really interesting conversation, Vinayak. Thank you for taking time out again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting me here.
Pleasure. Thank you. I hope you found this episode interesting. Do share your feedback. Also mention in case if you want any special guest to be featured on this podcast. This is Unscripted with Archie Jackson. Do subscribe and share. Thank you.